Okay, part two. We talked about the first category, how it's going to work a little bit. We ran through Surya, and then did we talk about Dhruv? Or are we on
Nope,
Dhruv?
we didn't talk. We left off on Roof.
All right, let's talk about Dhruv now. On a deal in the category two one. What's your thoughts, Surya?
Roof, just like another very sort of two-way, sort of like inconsistent player a little bit. We've obviously like sort of seen his inconsistencies in the past. But this last scrimmage, I believe in the two matches,
Two
we
matches,
sort of saw Drew
incredible.
evolve.
Absolutely
He's able
incredible.
to take, huh?
It was really good. I mean, 300 strike rate. He plays 10 balls, scored about 25, 30 runs, and he goes. So, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you weren't there,
Very
but it was
interesting.
really good to see.
Yeah, I believe that I like Drew has such good potential. I know, like in the first game, he sort of like showed that he's not just somebody who can just like he can't hit singles, doubles, but he can actually just evolve. He can also hit boundaries. He can also be a playmaker. He can be a hitter for you. He showed that really much in the first match with his fours and sixes. So sort of like I feel like I don't want to necessarily compare him to Vedant, but I feel like he's sort of like growing to be somebody like Vedant, who's
Somebody
able to
big,
hit
yes.
like sort of like consistently. He's also able to hit fours and sixes. Now, how do you do in the second game? I didn't see the
Really good.
scorecard for that.
Really good. There was one shot he played, just completely stood and just whacked the ball. It was Arjun. It was a no ball, came right here and just whacked it. And you know the tennis courts, right?
Yeah.
It usually when a person like Syme hits it, it hits the fence. It went inside the fence and rolled, kept rolling. Like he hit it that
Uh,
far. There was a video, I think. Hopefully there should be a video of him hitting it. It was really good. He was first time I'm looking at Dhruv, I'm seeing a different Dhruv, an aggressive Dhruv. Um, if it were for me, I would put all my money on Dhruv.
yeah,
What do you think?
I wish I was there to see that performance
Yeah,
actually.
it
You
was
see
good.
some 22 runs, and I'm assuming like 30 runs in the next game. That's good consistency. We see good shot selection from Drew. We're seeing good hitting. He's now sort of like evolving to be able to hit not just only singles and doubles, but sort of like evolve and hit fours and sixes. And we're not seeing balls wasted as well. That many balls wasted. Drew comes, delivers an efficient strike rate, then departs. Like we're not seeing him waste balls anymore,
Baseball.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Well,
mean, yeah,
yeah,
there's a
I certainly think
situation where Drew is one of 13, and I think improving like this stage where you know this it's that's the potential he has. So, what are your thoughts? Final thoughts on Dhruv? Invest or not invest?
certainly think there's been evolution. I certainly think he's shown consistency now. He's like showing that he can sort of hit. And I feel like with this deal, I think you guys should invest in Drew for 70 runs. I feel like this is actually the best stock you should invest in this four criteria and this criteria too. But I feel like Drew will be able to hit 70 runs with sort of like he sort of seems like a different player, somebody who
Definitely.
can hit, somebody who can keep his wicket. So yeah.
Yeah. Next one's Arif, a little bit different for Arif since his is an odd number as an expectation. On in his first two matches, he has to take four wickets. In the next two matches, he has to take three wickets. It's another deal, Arif. What are your thoughts on Arif?
Yeah, actually, for RF, I don't think I'd consider him sort of like a wicket taker bowler. I'd consider him sort of like a spin, keep the run rate low sort of bowler. But like lately, we've seen RF give like a lot of big runs, huge run rate, especially in that shorter field, the normal original field we play in. I feel like RF's bowling sort of like needs to get better. His spin needs to get better if he wants to prevent people from being hit. I feel like Arf's bowling will be the best, in the long, like the big area, the big pitch, or the second
Yes,
pitch we play on,
yes.
second priority one.
Mhm.
Certainly with the longer boundaries that he'll have, I feel like there'll be much more catch
Definitely useful.
opportunities,
Yeah,
and RF will do much better in that pitch
yeah,
compared. But if you're looking at the primary one and then the third pitch that we just recently introduced,
yes.
I don't feel like he'll be able to get that many wickets. I actually think that RF might actually give a lot of runs if he sort of like doesn't sort of
Okay,
improve upon his bowling, especially in the first pitch and the third pitch.
okay.
Second pitch, I feel like he'll be a pretty good like he'll sort of bait the opponent into sort of trying to hit a big shot. Then there might be some catches you might see,
Yeah.
but. RF has never really been much of a wicket taker. Like you've never really seen 3 wicket performances, 2 wicket performances by RF. And I believe the last couple of scrimmages, he hasn't actually gotten a wicket yet when he's bowling. So yeah, I feel like this is one that sort of, from what we've seen, I don't think that you should invest in 7 wicket stock. Yeah.
But people again who know about the stocks and are really keen to invest in RF and don't want to listen to Surya or even me, one thing that might stand in your opinion is experience. Maybe a change you'll see in the tournament, maybe, maybe not. Another thing is that how Simon will use him.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor.
If Simon uses him in the correct way, where he'll when he bowls, he'll get a wicket for sure. It's a definitely no brainer. So a lot on dependence on RF, some things that he has to change, some things not in his control. So what do you think? Founders decision, Surya. Invest or not invest?
I think for this one, we'll just say non-invest for
Non
Aura.
invest.
Yeah.
Next one is Jerem. Now, something interesting about Jerem, when I was trying to put the expectation up for Jerem, I actually didn't know if I'm supposed to put a batting one or a bowling one. So I actually went and talked to Jerem and said, if you're playing for a team, where do you think you'll give the most impact? Is it your bowling or is it your batting? And he said it's bowling. So based off of that, I put his expectation. So what do you think about Jerem? He set his own expectation right now.
Ooh, Jerome, I feel like is also another, like, you know how you sort of consider inconsistent batters, such as like sometimes me, Dhruv, maybe like Dhruv has evolved and sort of I have evolved to like sort of like not be that inconsistent anymore. I feel like Jerome is sort of like for bowling, he's sort of like that inconsistent standpoint. Like if you're trying to see who's inconsistent for batting, who's inconsistent for bowling, I'd say for the bowling side of it, I feel like it'd be Jerome because we saw him in that series and for like in that third match, the second match, his
Yeah.
bowling was not really that great. Huge run rate, not any wickets. Like remember in the series, huge run rate in the. But I know Jerome, hopefully, and he's sort of somebody who's trying to like find his way to bowling. Like he's sort of like questionable about his own bowling. Like should I bowl like slow? Should I take a run up and bowl? Should I just stand there and bowl? Jerome has like lots of questions about his bowling, so he's very questionable and like sort of unconfident about his own abilities, is what I'm seeing. But I feel like, as you said, that he's actually confident about his bowling. Like he's saying that, oh, I feel like
Yeah.
he can bowl better than he can bat. But I feel like he has like lots of doubts when bowling. Like he often switches up. Like he doesn't take run up sometimes. Then he takes run up. Then he sort of gets scared that, oh, too many no balls, too many wides, and he sort of like goes back to sort of like just standing there and bowling, sort of like a spin variation. I feel like he sort of switches up a lot. And I don't really know because in the past, Jerome has been a huge run giver. So I feel like 8 wickets, 2 wickets per game, par. For now, I don't think this situation will happen. 2 wickets per
Yeah.
game. I feel like, especially with the other wicket takers you have in your team, Rehan and Abiram, like leaning on Jerome, sort of feel like he won't be able to get this par. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially having a lead bowler like Abhinav there who comes up front, gets the wickets. There isn't much left from Jam to do. But something again, if you guys are really keen on investing on Jaron, something one quality he might have is death bowling, mid lower bowling that you won't see from other bowlers in this tournament. Especially him being a uh, nice pace bowler for that type of situation. But if Abhinav does not take up all the wickets, there might be a chance for Jerem. If not, sorry, what's your final call on Jerem?
Yeah, and also by the way, like the last time I've actually like remember recalling seeing Jerome is that tournament experience, which is like 2 months, 3 months ago. So a lot might have changed since then. I know they're like some scrimmages. I don't recall. Do you remember any bowling performances from his past
Once. I
scrimmages?
think he once came,
Um,
once or twice came after the scrimmage.
yeah, after the series, like after the
Yes,
series,
after the
once
series.
or twice. The series performance was, I don't know. Hopefully, like in that was sort of like the last competition setup we had. We saw like last competition setup bowling. We saw that for like Giron do that, sort of give high runs, not really many wickets. But we'll
Also,
see.
yeah, him being captain first time, so another bold decision by Syme. will it be a good thing for Jerem or will it be a bad thing for Jerem? Because captaincy means pressure. Uh, it's is it an extra burden for Jerem? He already has a burden maybe for bowling, so now maybe another burden for Jerem will kind of ruin his form in bowling. Hopefully not. Everyone's hoping it's not, especially his team. But final call, Surya, invest or not invest?
I'd say nine invest for now.
Okay. That was category two. Two players from here. Let's do one actually, because there's four play. Let's do one. One player you want to invest on completely.
Certainly Dhruv. The
Okay.
70 runs seems more like sort of like a reality now with Dhruv's past performance.
Okay.
One player to invest on, yeah, and especially with the Dio 70 runs
Yeah.
and his partnership and chemistry with Vedansh,
Yeah.
I certainly say one person to invest on is Dhruv in this category.
A person to have an eye on, not invest, just keep an eye on him. Scrimmages are coming. Maybe he might improve in these two scrimmages or so. Any person to keep an eye on in this category. Not invest, but
And
just keep an eye on.
keep an eye on. Certainly the biggest RF bowling I've sort of seen sort of like I feel like yeah, still I don't really know. He might improve, but the biggest keep an eye on would be Jerome because it's been so long since like we sort of see him bowl.
Okay.
So he might and he himself is saying that, oh, I'd rather choose my bowling over batting.
Or batting.
So maybe there might be something to sort of see from Jerome if you want to invest on it. And there's too much scrimmages left. Jerome might he might actually prove himself, show himself,
Hopefully.
sort of. Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
That was category two. One thing is that a lot of good things are happening for the Thunder right now. Two Surya Singh for sure, Vedansh and Dhruv are investments, both Thunder players. So let's move on to category three. On you, Surya, what are your thoughts? And obviously Nick gets the deal one here. Apart from that, what are your
So
thoughts?
Deepesh, yeah, Deepesh was recently released by the Trailblazers. So his status is unknown actually. Like there might be a change to the stocks, like if we might replace him out for the other core players, or if he gets picked up by another team, he'll stay on the stocks. But chances are he might become on-core and he might not actually be a stock option. Correct? If he becomes on-core, he won't be a stock option, right?
Maybe. I mean, depending. I mean, Rohit right now is not in any team either. He was put in
Yeah.
for the possibility of being in a team. So I think he was remaining in the stocks.
Sort of think like with a new player like Ashrit and then
Yeah,
maybe
if
other
yeah,
players.
definitely. If forgot about him. If
Yeah.
Ashrit is definitely there, this was released before Ashrit came into play. So Deepish is
And
the
then there might
younger
be
player.
other
Ashrit
players
definitely
that teams
replaces
might.
him. Exact
There's
same
one
thing,
player
except
that
Ashrit.
Trailblazers might go after, which I'll not like reveal for now.
Reveal for
But
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Thoughts on
Yeah,
Deepish?
Deepish, just thoughts on Deepish. 6 wickets. He's not playing for the Trailblazers anymore. He might still play for the Trailblazers, but we'll see. Depending on how the captain uses him.
Mm-hmm.
6 wickets, 4 matches seems like sort of like gettable for Deepish.
Okay.
Sort of, but I feel like the biggest factor is sort of his own attitude towards how he
Attitude.
plays. He tends to sort of like be like a complaining player. He tends to sort of like want to like bowl all the time, bat all the time. He
Okay.
like sort of like wants his main character, sort of something like that. So yeah, that might affect how Deepish plays too. It might come back to bite him, but 6 wickets, I feel like Deepish has actually improved on his wicket taking ability in the past like few months. Like previously he was like not able to get that many wickets, but I feel like his spin
Right.
bowling has sort of gone better.
Uh-huh.
I feel like for Arav, there's also the same factor.
Actor.
I feel like sort of in the small field with smaller boundaries, sort of like more he has people will sort of like play more aggressive and be able to hit off him. While on the longer fields, sort of like more iffy, sort of play more conservative, and then they might get Deepish might get wickets from there.
Yeah,
But for
also
six
another,
wicket,
yeah. What you're saying?
yeah, continue. No, you continue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I was thinking like when you saw in the series, you saw good leader Sam trying to put him in a structure, and he did perform really, really well. Unexpected from me. So
yeah.
I don't think he has a right leader, Nikith, to lead him and to use him correctly. So in my end of point, it's really iffy for me. I mean, for Deeper, 6 wickets.
It's
If he's used correctly, maybe. But final call, what do you say, Surya?
it's also like really iffy for me. Final call will to say from this category, especially, I think there are other better options that you can invest in. So I'll
Invest in.
sort of say like, yeah, maybe not for this one.
Okay. Nick gets a deal one here. 5 wickets
Nick
for Nick
five
take five
wickets, yeah.
wickets.
I certainly think is these the only three in this category, Deepesh,
Yes,
Nick, and
there
Rohit?
are. These are the only three in this category.
Yeah. Certainly think Nikit is the one that I feel like Nikit is the sort of if any of these three options, I sort of like invest in Nikit, especially since Deepesh and Rohit's like sort of future is unknown. Like they might
Yeah.
still remain on core players with teams possibly targeting
Yep.
other players that are not necessarily on this
On this
sort of like
list.
sheet.
Yes.
Nick 5 wickets, obviously with the Trailblazers, with it's only me and him right now. So obviously, depending on who we get, we might get another bowler to help assist. You never know. But I feel like in 4 matches, 5 wickets, I feel like Nick will sort of have like a leader position in this team, to bowl,
Okay.
since he's like sort of like maybe him and another player. Like I said, I won't disclose the
That's
who like
disclosed.
we're sort
Okay.
of going after. Sort of that actually has like a lot of like having him is sort of like a big impact with sort of Nicket's sort of level of accountability. And I don't necessarily want to like show sort of me like saying what Nicket would do for this stock will sort of like spoil like how impactful the other player is for our team. So I'm sort of thinking that I think this is definitely achievable for Nicket, getting a
Achievable.
wicket a game,
Okay.
getting 2 wickets a game. I
Okay.
certainly think that you can invest in the stock. And for
Okay.
RF, it'll be like 2-3, 3-2.
Okay.
Or will it be like 2-3-3-2? Sort of like
5 wickets. It would. I didn't sorry. Put that. Apologies for that. It would be 2-3 actually, not 3-2. So two in the first two, three in the next two.
definitely think that's achievable for Nikhil.
Achievable.
Being able to ask like, yeah, I think he can definitely get wickets.
Yeah.
Sort of recently he's sort of been like a little bit iffy on bowling. Hopefully he'll sort of like get himself back. But Nikhil's bowling potential is really good, and I believe that he can get 5 wickets in the tournament.
Now let's final player. Let's assume that Rohit's in a team. Will he score 50 runs or not?
Assuming that Rohit's in a team, I actually see Rohit is sort of like I don't really know how sort of Rohit like sort of reacts to not playing for so long. Because obviously we saw Saeem not play for 2 months, came out, scored 0 of 2. Rohit has actually not played for 3 or 4 months. I don't think he's even played in the he didn't even play in this a series, correct?
Yeah.
I asked Rohit too, he said he's not played cricket since then due to obviously like his own issues, winter issues, etc. And his own like not being available.
Hmm.
So yeah, Rohit, he's not played in 4 months, and I feel like that's going to be a really big factor. Just coming in and to a tournament stage. I don't know. He might come for one scrimmage before then, maybe in the practice match. But
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully. But for Rohit, 50 runs, around 50, 15, 10 to 15 runs per game. Certainly think that I don't know. Teams might put Rohit in the lower order as well. He's considered more of a finisher, and that might also be an issue in 10 over game. Also, if he's on a team with Vedant and Dhruv, sort of that team, I feel like they'll be more of the run dominators and sort of be able to like chase the score, sort of keep a score. So I feel like it all depends on how the captain uses Rohit.
Okay.
Sort of, yeah. But I
So
feel like if
invest.
he does end up on a team,
Yeah.
I'd say depending on what team he ends up, to invest on him.
Invest on Rohit.
Yeah, depending on what team he ends up in. So if he ends up on a team
Okay.
like Thunder, possibly, yeah, because you have the solid foundation, Vedant and Dhruv.
Vedant and Dhruv.
I mean, actually, possibly no, because you have Vedant Dhruv, right, at the top. I feel like they also have their power up to incorporate and get another player. I
Possibly.
feel like he sort of have a finishing role, and I feel like with sort of Vedant finding his consistency, with Dhruv finding his consistency, I don't think Rohit will get to bat as much if he's on a team like that. However, if
Okay.
he's on another team that sort of needs that batting, like if
Okay.
Trailblazers end up picking him up, it's only me, Nikit, Rohit. So then I sort of he has a bigger role. All
Yeah.
of a sudden he has a bigger role to sort of contribute to the batting. So it all depends on what team he sort of ends up on.
Okay.
As of right now, it's not looking like good, right, for him to end up on a team. Sort of,
My point of view, yeah. It's really,
yeah, it's
yeah,
really, really iffy for
really,
Rohit to
really,
end up on a team.
yeah,
So yeah, out of these three players, actually, Nick is the only one who's like confirmed in the tournament.
confirmed.
Deepesh might also be on core, especially with players that people have their eyes on. Currently, the only on-field teams are us and Thunder. So only two players will be chosen. And outside of Deepesh and Rohit, there are also two other players for consideration too. So Deepesh and Rohit might like we might have to
Might
swap
not
them
even
out,
play.
change the
Yeah,
stocks.
yeah,
Yeah.
which makes sense. Yeah, final
So
take
yeah,
on
just like yeah,
yeah,
just final take on like which
category.
categories to invest on, which pools to invest on in each category. Category one, Vedansh, like I said before. Category two, Dhruv, and then category three, since he's the only one confirmed, obviously, I'd say Niket for
Okay,
5 wickets in that deal.
okay.
Any other
So
questions to close off with?
uh, so yeah, I was just wanted to like finalize the rules and all that. Let me just get that 1 second. But I mean, talking about the tournament and etc., we're talking. I mean, we're looking at Dhruv actually potentially doing way better than what was expected a few weeks ago, which is something really surprising to see. Because now I'm thinking about Dhruv now, and then I'm looking 70 runs. I'm thinking it's completely achievable for Dhruv, which is
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm also thinking that it's completely achievable, but like, what about the sort of see just inconsistency, sort
yeah,
of on and off? I feel like it's on and off on a day
yeah,
basis. Like on a day, one day he does really good, one day he does really bad. Hopefully, we don't see that this tournament from
yeah.
Dhruv. Sort of like in a 2 game stretch, you actually saw him do really good across those
Really
two
good.
games.
Exactly.
That's the first time I've seen Dhruv do that. Like, is that the first time you've seen Dhruv do that? Like,
Honestly, to play that well, yes.
yes, in 2 straight games too.
Two
In two
straight
straight
games
games.
as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's obviously had his moments where he's played good in 1 game and then the next game he completely deteriorates. But
yes,
2 straight games in a row, hopefully a positive sign for the future. Hopefully he doesn't like go back and then just start like we see him tournament day one, sort of like go back to his old habits and then get between 0 and 5. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
yeah,
That'll like we're putting like so much hope on him. So
yeah.
yeah.
So basic rules, all viewers, please, if you guys want to listen, go ahead, listen. So each team can buy a maximum of 30 shares in total, right? There's 4 teams, each team can buy maximum 30 shares, right? Each team can buy up to a maximum 5 shares from category one players. So whoever it may be, you can buy a maximum of 5 shares from category one players. So in total 30, but from that 30, you can buy a maximum of 5 shares from category one. RCC stocks will open on February 9th and close February 23rd. The closing day is when the tournament starts. So it's obviously a big investment without knowing how they're going to perform in the tournament. So stay tuned for that, please, please, please. It's something new we're trying. If it really does work out, it's really engaging for everybody to do it as well. So anything else you want to add on, Surya?
Yeah, and then obviously my predictions aside, there's two more scrimmages which we will stream, have scorecards for. Abiram will sort of like get on his role with sort of being umpire for the tournament. So he sort of like transitioned to being umpire for the scrimmages in like preparation for the tournament. Obviously things might change, like the deeper look players, I'd certainly say will be sort of Arjun, as you know, he's been in sort of like a slump lately.
I did,
As
yeah.
Abhiram has talked about, Dhruv has talked about, and I believe just in the last interview with Syme, they talked about this sort of like slump. Arjun will be somebody to watch out. As you know, he's a really good X factor. We've seen his ability to perform and sort of get wickets.
Obviously, the most experienced players can bounce back anytime. Arjun, Arav, yeah, I mean they have the perfect possibility. Even Jerem too have the perfect possibility to
Yep.
bounce back anytime. But as of currently, right now, I don't look at that
Yep.
as a favorite.
Araf and Jerome certainly also players that I want to see sort of evolve and sort of
Yeah,
Jerome, I've never really seen him. Like I said, he's like a must-see player. Like
yeah.
the last time we like actually saw him and remembered to take account of a memorable bowling performance, the last one we actually saw was this what was it, the series, and that
Series.
was like memorable in a bad way, not memorable in a good way. So it's sort of like there's no like memorable performances by Jairam in like recent of getting 2 wickets, 3 wickets. So yeah, right now it's looking a little iffy for Jairam, Araf, and Arjun. But yeah, those 3 players are must-watch players though.
Okay.
Anything can change with them.
All right.
Also maybe with Syme. Syme's also one, Syme, he
Yeah.
might sort of
Obviously,
like
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, what was I gonna say? So this the obviously the point of RCC stocks is gaining uh power up for the playoffs. can you see the screen, Surya? Can you see this screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
The change rate? Okay.
Yeah.
So once, yeah. So power up for the playoffs. This is the point of it. So you can use this power up if your team has the most amount of coins after the auction, after the stocks are done. If your team has the most amount of coins remaining, your team will be getting a power up that you guys can use in the playoffs. You can use it any of your four matches in the playoffs. Doesn't really matter. And your team gets advantage of choosing a player first during draft picks.
This is positive points too, right? Like the positive points they gain, like or what?
This so basically after the stocks are done, each team will have coins remaining, right? Or coins
Yeah,
gained.
so each team has how many coins they can invest
There's no
max?
limit. So you just have to invest, and then either you get a return, or you don't even get anything, or you get the same amount of back.
So yeah, then in that scenario, like obviously then you obviously don't want to invest too little, right? But then you
Too
also
little,
don't want to invest, yeah, too
too
little
much.
because teams that invest like in every single stock, let's just say per
Yeah,
chance, in almost all the stocks,
yeah,
they have those coins. Each
yeah,
player has this like set amount of coins,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
they'll get those set amount of coins. So if you invest
Exactly.
obviously less,
If the
then
players
you'll
do, if the
even if
players,
they lose, yeah, even if they
yeah,
lose out, the guy who invested so much, even if they lose out, they'll still have more coins than somebody who invested very little
yeah.
and has gained points. Yeah.
Basic understanding. If you haven't watched the old video and it's a waste of time for you, basic sentence I'm about to say is you invest in a player. If the player does better than the expectation of the question that's listed, you guys get a share value increase. If the player does worse than expected of the question, you guys get a share value decrease. If the player does exactly as expected, like well, if Arjun takes exactly 12 wickets in his four games, that means you get the exact same return that you put in. Uh
And go to the like point sharing like that one, yeah.
yes.
So basically like you see, right? Like the -2 is for if he doesn't get it,
If he
right? For
doesn't
each
get it,
one.
exactly. So basically, what will happen is that Arjun has to take 6 wickets in 6 wickets in 2 games, right? As an
Yeah.
evaluation check. If he does
Yeah.
not get to par with that, the 20 coins you invested will turn to 18.
And then if he doesn't do it again, it'll turn it to
It'll
16,
turn
right?
to 16.
So
Exactly.
that's what I was saying. Like somebody who does not invest in Argent, right? So
Yeah.
someone in Argent who does not invest in Argent gets no coins, correct? Like because they didn't
Yeah, if you
invest in
don't invest
Argent.
in Archie, you don't get any coins. But yeah,
If you
basically.
invest in Argent, even if you lose out on the two pars, you still get 16 points. Is that like what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
So basically,
It's a win-win. It's exactly it. I
it's a
would
win-win to sort of invest in every
Yeah, you
stock.
don't
That's what
lose
I'm saying.
anything. It's not a win. It's not win it all or lose it all. It's not like that. I try to make it simple because we started it. It's the first time doing it, so I don't want to do it like complete drastic changes if it doesn't come correctly. So there will be a gain, but if is the gain more gainful than other teams? So supposedly if I invest in Simon, Simon does better than Arjun, I get more money than what you invested on Arjun, right? Because Simon did better. So I'll actually get 30 coins if he did better, Simon. But you'll get
Yeah,
16 coins. So like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's basically about it. Please stay tuned for this. I think not only we are the first cricket club in CFB ISD, but we're also probably the first club that's running a stocks like this and in a sports club as well. So I'm proud to say it's like that. Hopefully next tournament or so, I want to bring this type of rule or this type of play in for you guys to be more engaged. So please stay tuned for this. I haven't talked about a lot since obviously talked about the rules. Hope I came back to it and we had a good conversation, Surya, with it. Thank you for joining Abiram's Corner. Yeah. Anything else you
Okay,
want to
yeah.
say?
No, I think that summed it up. Obviously things might change with my predictions, like, as like the must-see players sort of evolve and show that they do have capability to obviously achieve these, even with a player like myself, that's obviously still the scenario. So yeah, a lot might change, but as of right now, things I feel like pretty confident
Also,
about sort of
yeah,
all the predictions I've said. Yeah.
a lot might change in the next 1, 2 days. So it's not a lot. of time. So you might see quick changes coming in, especially when releasing players ends in about 2 hours. Because nine right now, it ends at 11:59. So if these are the players that releases, tomorrow till Wednesday is going to be the situation where teams are getting their final players. Finalized teams, finalized teams will come to you on Thursday. And
Yeah.
based off of that, there might be tweaks in the obviously in the RCC stocks. You might see different players coming in, but apart from that, please stay tuned for this.
Right.
Please engage in this. The more you engage, the more I feel supported to do more ideas. More supported for me and Surya to do these type of ideas, fun ideas as well. Yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Please subscribe.
Yeah. Thank you.